The third challenge is peace and security. We have an architecture on peace and security with an early warning system, looking at conflicts that might emerge, that are emerging in Burundi, that might emerge in Congo, emerging in Burkina with a coup, and so on. So that early warning system is following national situations and regional situations in order to have a prompt reaction to the problems that are emerging and be the core center of decision.
SADC nations have committed to forge regional integration, promote democracy and economic development, and ensure peace and stability.
Among other things that we discuss is a question of how the AU must work a system where it's going to be independent in terms of financial dependence.
The meeting in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia this afternoon was reviewing the latest reports on the situation following concerns that the escalating violence could plunge the country to further chaos. The European Union, the United Nations, including the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, all presented their views. Earlier, PSC Commissioner Ismail Chergui called for the EAC-mediated talks to be held outside Burundi. The African Union and the European Union have previously suggested the talks mediated by Uganda be moved to Addis Ababa or Kampala.
East Africa regional body IGAD says the recent cooperation agreement that Ethiopia, Somalia and Djibouti signed has brought positive winds of change to the region. IGAD has welcomed the new developments, perhaps most of all the normalization of relations between Eritrea and Djibouti.
The Eastern African Regional Grouping on a statement said the Asmara Cooperation Agreement is exemplary for the whole of the region and said these developments have taken place in a backdrop of a positive wind of change across East Africa. It has been 4 months since the African Union authorized military intervention in the Central African Republic. A force of 3,600 soldiers drawn from countries such as Chad with a mission to stabilize CAR. Rebels overthrew the government there in March. Widespread atrocities have been reported since then. 4 months on, fewer than half the troops are on the ground, and there is no indication when the African Union force will be up to strengthen and deployed.
Besides discussing food security challenges, the African Union is deeply concerned over deteriorating peace and security in member countries.
Despite the general positive trajectory, we remain deeply concerned about the situation in Central African Republic and South Sudan, the massive loss of life, the scourge of sexual violence, and the damage inflicted on the population in these countries.
All the parties to the conflict in South Sudan, the South Sudanese themselves, have to commit to a ceasefire and come back to the table to continue the 2015 peace agreements.
The decision by the rebels to accept Ugandan troops in South Sudan appears to have added impetus to the peace efforts.
We are happy if that has happened, and we expect the rebels after this to come back to the table and sign the matrix.
China is playing the most important role in the peace-finding mission.
Definitely this could be the first time for China to participate on such international functions, and this is a clear indication of the commitment of the government of China and their interest to ensure that peace comes to South Sudan.
Now you must silence the guns. You must narrow your political gaps. You must hold democratic elections. You must create structures and empower a government. In short, you must act. I do implore you to act now.